And welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. Today, we're going to get into a topic that has been making waves across the nation in the U.S. Before we do so, make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube, the podcast guys. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Rumble, the podcast guys _ and X, the podcast guys 5. Now we're going to get into a topic that has been really getting to people lately, especially the women, and that is the 4B movement has made its way to the USA. So we talked about the 4B movement in a previous episode back in the summer. I'll mention that again a little bit later, but that's where we go really in depth. Now we're going to get into the 4B movement, where pretty much it's kind of taken off ever since the election ended. The new president was named, the president-elect, Donald Trump. And we also have a reaction from the women that is not quite pleasant. So you want to go ahead and let us know what the 4B movement actually is?
Yeah, so the 4B movement has been around for a while. It started in Korea in 2019. It consists of 4 Korean words, which roughly translate into no marriage, no dating, no sex, and no children with straight men. So, like you said, it's been around for a while, but ever since the recent election, feminists are now revamping the 4B movement as a response to Trump's abortion policy. So they're now saying no marriage, no dating, no sex, no children.
And soon we're going to have a video that we're going to react to in a few moments of these women reacting all wild and freely, letting us know how they feel about what happened in the election, the result, and what they're going to do now as a result of that election.
The reactions are hilarious. We're going to play that video a little later, but if you saw some of the, I'm sure everybody's seen the reaction videos of women having emotional breakdowns in their car because Trump was elected, and just responding like kids, just crying, yelling,
screaming,
and the 4B movement is just something that's been kind of revamped recently because of this. So.
And it's been hitting the waves now all across the U.S. I mean, you see it all over social media, how these women are reacting now. It's really sad. It's not all women, so want to put that out there, but it's a handful of women that are really doing it to themselves at the end of the day when it comes to these 4 Bs. So why don't you go ahead and discuss the first B?
Yeah, so the first one is no marriage. Now, keep in mind, the idea behind the 4B movement is this is supposed to be some sort of a punishment for men, right? Women are upset about the abortion policy. Women are upset that men aren't treating them or respecting them as women. So their response is, we're not going to marry you, we're not going to date you, sleep with you, so on and so forth. So let's talk about the first one, marriage. So do you feel that no marriage is punishment to us as men?
Not at all. I think men don't want to get married. See, the thing is that women put it out there that marriage is not going to happen for men. Men don't want to get married. Men don't want to get married. And the ones that do get married are guilted into it, right? They are pretty much shamed into it. Oh, you better marry me or else I'm going to break up with you and go out and date another guy, have sex with another guy, whatever it is. So most men don't want to get married. And let's face it, 50 to 60% of marriages end in divorce or separation. So why would men want to get married? What advantage do men have in getting married when they lose half their shit? They lose their house, they lose their car, they lose alimony, child support, you name it, when they get divorced after getting married. Do men want that? No. The men that are married, the men that you ladies, some of you ladies that are married, that man does not necessarily want to be married. He wants to be with you, but he's married because most likely you wanted it.
I don't see how no marriage is supposed to be punishment, because if anything, it's to me it sounds like a reward. I can safely say, on behalf of most of the men I've known or been friends with or worked with, most men try to withhold on marriage as long as possible. That's why you're seeing men nowadays getting married in their 40s, in their late 40s, sometimes 50s, or sometimes not getting married at all or giving up on it, because generally men don't want to get married. It's something we kind of have to do because we eventually get pressured into it, or we don't want to lose the girl we're dating, so we get married as a kind of a truce, right? But that's not marrying us. It is not a form of punishment. So that first one is kind of an L on their part. I really don't know what they're trying to accomplish with that.
The hilarious thing is that, we're supposed to be scared that
no marriage?
No marriage. Oh my gosh. It's insane. I don't know what to do with myself now. What am I going to do? Like, men don't want to get married. So that, again, as you said, is an L for women. How about the next one? Childbirth. No childbirth.
So this one, I find this one particularly interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, but a feminist's prerogative is what? Is female empowerment, equal rights, a better future for women. Please explain to me how not having children is empowering women. That is your one God-given right. That is something a man simply cannot do. We could do everything else. Having a child is something we cannot do. Only women can do that. So by saying you're not having children, are you really punishing us, or are you taking away one of your own God-given rights to have a child? How is that punishment for us?
Women think that they're getting power by not having kids. But ladies, that is one power over men that you have.
Correct.
You can have kids. Men cannot have kids. Although nowadays questionable, but we won't get into that. Women have that beautiful opportunity to bear a child, and men can't. So by them saying that they're not going to have kids or willing to have kids, they're taking that power away from themselves. It's crazy. It's silly. And it's laughable too, because it's something that, again, men have total control over. Women have total control over men.
Come to think of it, with the single mom epidemic, there's so many single moms that many times have multiple kids with multiple fathers. And yes, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that sometimes it is in fact the man's fault. He was a shitty father, a deadbeat dad, alcoholic, so on and so forth. But let's be real here. That's not the case every time. A lot of these women just simply can't take the accountability for the fact that they're reproducing with the wrong person. They're making shitty decisions. They're sleeping with bums and losers, and they're stepping into that themselves. So by not having kids, you're not really penalizing us, but maybe you should practice in not having kids and take a break from it, because I know women, we both know women ourselves that have multiple kids with multiple fathers, and they're still single moms. So, if that's something you're supposed to be in control of, that's something you should take responsibility of. Don't throw that one on us, and that is not a punishment for us.
And that's something that's beautiful. And sadly, you're taking that away from yourself.
Exactly.
Women have something special that, again, men don't have. And they're just going to lose it because of their silly decisions and their shitty mindset. So how about the next one? Not dating men. I don't want to go out on any dates with men. I don't want to deal with men. What's your take on that?
I could see what they were trying to do with this one by saying, we're not dating anymore. Look, the reality is, and this is a lot of the times what we talk about on this channel, dating sucks nowadays anyway. In 2024, we're almost in 2025. Dating is toxic. A lot of guys completely backed out of dating, have given up on it. Dating for most men sucks. Unless you're like a top tier man, dating sucks. Let's just be real. So whether or not they choose to date or not to date, it really doesn't affect most men, because most men are having a shitty time with dating out the door.
I'll tell you this: 50% of men are not interested in a relationship or even casual dating.
Yeah.
So what does that say? That says that 1 out of every 2 guys that you see around you don't want to date you ladies, don't want to deal with you ladies, don't want the headache, don't want the heartache of dealing with all your nonsense and your bitching and moaning and complaining and I want you to buy me this and I want you to take me there and wah, 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 wah. They don't want it. So I would think twice about not wanting to date men, because that's something that men don't want to do. And if you don't want to do it, you're going to have even a less chance of trying to have a solid person to date. You're taking that away from yourself. Men are already going on about their movement. MGTOW, right?
Yes.
Men are already going their own way. There's already passport bros. There's guys going to other countries and finding women there that are dateable, because here in the West, women are undateable. Women don't put themselves in position to be good enough girlfriends or whatever partnership they want to call it. They don't put themselves in a positive setup when it comes to dating. It's all negative.
We've said it many times before. Most of these women are making the gap smaller and smaller for who they consider to be an eligible dating partner, boyfriend, husband, whatever you want to call it. They don't even consider most men anyway. So by saying no dating, you're maybe affecting a certain percentage of men that are in the dating pool and having some success. Most men are not going to be affected by it because they're having a shitty time dating to begin with. So.
And men are having a shitty time not only dating, but trying to get a date. Going on dating apps and trying to get a girlfriend off of that, or somebody to date, and they get rejected, or they get rejected in person. So guys are already having difficulties with dating as it is. So just by eliminating that, you're practically taking yourself out of the dating pool and leaving the women that are willing to be taken out on a date, giving them more opportunities.
Most men are not getting swiped on. They're getting flaked on. They're getting ditched. They're getting friend zoned. So by them saying no dating, again, it's just not going to affect men like they hope will. So,
and guys are tired of dating. Guys are tired of dating. And it's funny because lately women are the one that are saying, where are all the good men at? Right? Why aren't guys asking me out anymore? And that's going to add to it. That's going to be an addition to that issue. So how about that last one, the no sex?
So this is, I think, is the best one out of the four, because out of these four no's, I think we can agree those other three really we don't care about. Marriage, dating, children, it's just a kind of like a whatever, right? So sex is an interesting one, because I think women deep down know that is the one power that they can hold over our heads. Right? You want this? You're not going to get it. They know that men want sex, and that is the one. They're the gatekeepers of it, right? They decide who they're going to sleep with or not, and they can manipulate women. One of our recent guests mentioned this, and he said that, and I agree with him completely, that women have learned to kind of weaponize their vagina. They use it as a tool, a manipulation tool. They get what they want. They get those dates and dinners and gifts and money and attention, but they don't necessarily have to give it up, do they? Right? So here's what I have to say about this. Any woman that engages in the 4B movement or supports it, if you think that withholding sex is going to solve something, if you think that men are going to eventually cave in and just crawl back to you and say, "Okay, you win. We'll do what you want. Let's play this by your rules." Here's what's really going to happen. In 2024, there is absolutely no shortage of sex workers. If men can't get what they want from you, they're going to get it from somewhere else. I think men are very good at adapting. Okay, it's just like in our nature to do so. If we can't get it from you, we're going to get it from somebody else. So, and again, as a feminist, that should concern you, because at the end of the day, your goal is to protect women's rights, women's health, women's freedom. What you're eventually going to do long term is contribute to the increase of prostitution. That's what I'm trying to say.
And not only that, but we tell men also to avoid these things, but it's going to add men to watching porn, to subscribing to OnlyFans, to going to those strip clubs, and that's going to be good enough for them. Those average simps that fall for that stuff. Now, the guys that can get laid, they're going to go elsewhere, and they're going to find that girl that is into them, and that guy's into her, and they're going to have sex if they want, if it leads to that. So you're taking yourself out of that person that is willing to have sex with those men, and seems to be fine with guys. I mean, those women are not too high when it comes to, 1 to 10, who's the best looking. And those women are on the lower end of that scale. So
sex is important, but it's not that important where men are realistically going to kind of like give up and go running back. Because look, what's the 4B movement's goal, right? They say it in these videos all the time. Women that engage in the 4B movement think that by withholding marriage, dating, sex, and children, their goal is to get men to kind of eventually give up and say, "You win. We need that sex back. We need that dating back. You win. Have it your way. Let's change the laws. Let's go back to treating you the way you want to be treated, whatever that even means." Because we both know that treating women well doesn't work. So that's their goal, and the reality is men aren't going to do that. I think women call men childish and men children, and that we don't want to take responsibility. I think that by telling men no marriage, dating, sex, children, that is a very childish approach. That's the best you could come up with. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a grown woman, that's what it's come down to, is you're just going to be like, well, I didn't get the president that I wanted. Things aren't going my way, so I'm just going to say no. Fine. That's your right to. All the power to you, but all I'm saying is that out of these 4 things, men realistically only care about the sex, and they're going to find other ways to get it. And like I said, there's so much sex workers out there right now. All it takes is an email, a text, a WhatsApp. If a man wants sex, he's going to get it. He doesn't need it from you.
Exactly. So now let's get into the video, so we can react to that, because the way these women acted is just terrible. Just before we do that, guys, don't forget, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. We have had guests come on the podcast. We have plenty more guests on the way. So subscribe so you're ready to see who's next, who's coming on next. We're doing a lot of stuff for you guys, a lot of special things coming your way. So don't forget also to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Rumble, the Podcast Guys _ and X, the Podcast Guys 5. So now for the reaction video, let's see how a bunch of these women, because it's not just one woman, it's a lot of women out there that are acting this way.
So what we're about to play you, it's a 1 minute long video. It's basically a highlight reel of a bunch of women that support the 4B movement, and they all have their little statements to say. So let's play the video. Here we go.
You guys feel spicy? Because I do.
No matter how loud, how kind, respectful, how cute, men will still fucking hate you.
Women are talking about bringing that 4B movement right here to the United States.
Time to lock the fuck in. Operation 4B.
Refuse to date men, get married, have sex with them, or children.
All I have to say is good luck getting laid. Me and my girlies are participating in the 4B movement.
No more kitty cat for moderate men. But being all the things that the patriarchy wants us to be. Clearly, they don't give a shit about us.
No attention to men. Delete, block, do not respond to them.
Government cares that they're not having kids because children are the future labor force.
I'm gonna start barking and getting fucking crazy.
You think I'm crazy? Me too. Crazy. Just like all the women before me who were crazy.
It is the best thing I've ever done for my mental health. We're not crazy. We have to do this together.
The women who are doing the 4B movement help other women who are doing the 4B movement.
Alright, if you're a man, I will not be responding to you. I am going to be promoting the 4B movement.
Do not acknowledge them. Do not look at them. Do not laugh at their jokes.
Why exactly are you going to keep becoming subservient to a nation that doesn't literally care about you?
Wake women up.
You see, very simply put, this is what happens when women don't get their way. Women aren't used to being told no. Men are used to it. As a matter of fact, I would say we expect to be told no. Okay? No to the date, no to the sex, no to the job, no to the... Like, men are used to taking no's. Women aren't used to being told no. So when they finally don't get their way, because, feminism has had these women on their high horse for like some years now. So when they get the president that doesn't make laws in their favor, and for once, and like for the first time in like the last 10 years, something doesn't go their way, this is how they react. They have an absolute mental breakdown.
And their attitude just shows how horrible they take this. I mean, shaving their head, basically calling men misogynistic. No kitty cat, one of those ladies said. Good luck getting laid.
I heard that. Mm-hmm.
No attention, blocking men. Ladies having to stick together, waking women up. Pretty much just going crazy, barking, yelling, screaming. Men don't want to be around this anyway. So you're pretty much identifying yourself as a woman that men look to and say, oh, great, she's not one that I want to date anyway. So this attitude, this mentality is only harming those ladies that are acting that way. Because again, I'm not putting it on all the women. It's not all the women. There's a lot of women out there that are saying to those women that are reacting this way, you ladies want 4B, you are being stupid. And you know why they say that? Because they say that they are taking themselves out of the dating pool and leaving the women that actually want to get married, want to date, want to have kids, want to have sex.
Very good point.
In the dating pool. So those women are knocking themselves out of that list. And
women have had plenty of wins over the last 10 years. I have to admit that women have come long and far in their feminist movement and equality. You know, women are becoming CEOs. They're getting degrees. Women have had plenty of wins. This is not one of them. This is embarrassing. I think it's childish. The idea that like you didn't get something your way and you're gonna shave your head and have a mental breakdown and like demonize all men and like we're not marrying you, we're not having sex with you. It's childish. It's something a kid would do. Like you take their phone away and they go, meh, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing my homework. I'm moving. You know what I'm saying? It's such a childish thing. It's embarrassing.
do you know what all these women have in common?
What's that?
Not only that they're not attractive, but their personality and their mindset is total nasty garbage. Just trash.
Agreed.
No guy wants to be around that. It's a complete turnoff. And you pretty much put that out to the public. You pretty much told men what women not to date.
100%.
Men are okay with that. They'll just go after the women that want to go out on dates. So at the end of the day, women have to look at themselves that are doing this. And if there are any women that are out there that are participating in the 4B movement, what are you expecting to accomplish with this? Do you expect this to be a positive thing in your life? Or do you not realize that this will be a downfall part of your life? And again, we want to see success for all men and women out there. Of course, this is a men's dating podcast, so of course we're here for the men, and that's our number one priority. But we want to help the ladies out and understand where the men are coming from. And ladies, those of you that are participating in the 4B movement, that's something that men are going to say, well, she's a part of the 4B movement. She's not one that I want to deal with. Especially when it comes to the no dating, no sex part.
Here's my final thoughts on all of this. I watch quite a few of these 4B movement videos just to get some more knowledge, just to get kind of refreshed on it. One of the most common things I hear is women will say that men just don't respect them anymore. They're not getting respect from men. Here's my question to any women watching this, and I'll end with this. What is it about you that men should respect? Is it the fact that you're not marrying them? Is it the fact that you don't want to date them? Is it the fact that you're not sleeping with them anymore? Or is it maybe the fact that you don't want to have kids anymore? You let me know, what is it about you that's so respectable?
And guys, also, I mentioned earlier, we did an episode, the 4B movement is radical feminism destroying society. We did that video back in the summer, around June. Take a look at that. We go more in depth on the 4B movement there. But right here, this is proof that women are really trying to, those women that are following the 4B movement are trying to destroy society in their own way.
Feminism has brainwashed these women into thinking that men are the enemy, and that is simply not true. That is not the case.
And ladies, men are not against you, but you're putting them against a handful of you. If you don't want that to be the case, let's get on the same page. We're trying to work with you. But if you go your own way, men, MGTOW, are already going their own way. You better believe that. So, guys, don't forget, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, The Podcast Guys. We are going and thriving. We are bringing guests on, and we have more special things coming on the way. So don't miss out. Subscribe to the channel. It's free. Come on, guys. Also, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Rumble, The Podcast Guys _, and The Podcast Guys 5 on X. We'll see you next time.